Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Surya. As the representative of Group D, I will begin our presentation of Group D that talk about the assignment 6, lesson 9. Okay. For the title of the research, the effect of the flipped classroom model on Iranian English foreign language learners, engagement and motivation in English language grammar. And here is the link to the article. For the next slide, for research question, will be delivered by our sister Nabila Mahdafikia.
Okay, this slide there is a research question. The first research question is: does the experience flipped classroom significantly enhance upper intermediate learners' motivations? And the second, does the experience flipped classroom significantly improve upper intermediate learners' engagement? And the third is: does the experience flipped classroom significantly extends intermediate learners' motivation? And the last is: does the experience flipped classroom significantly improve intermediate learners' engagement? Okay. And the first research question was: does the experience of using a flipped classroom approach significantly extends upward intermediate learners' motivation in learning grammar? It extends upper intermediate learners' motivation, and the null hypothesis, which says the classroom does not exchange the upper intermediate learners' motivation, is rejected. The second research question was: does the experience of using a flipped classroom approach significantly improve upper intermediate learners' engagement in learning grammar? Flipped classroom improves upper intermediate learners' engagement, considering the significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores in the two groups of control and experiment. It is concluded that the flipped classrooms improve upper intermediate learners' engagement. The null hypothesis was rejected. The third research question asks about: does the experience of using a flipped classroom approach significantly enhance intermediate learners' motivation in learning grammar? Bentar, tadi. Based on the results of covariance analysis flipped classroom as an intermediate learners' motivation. Okay. And the last is the research question asks: does the experience of using a flipped classroom approach significantly improve intermediate learners' engagement in learning grammar? According to the results of the covariance analysis, flipped classroom improves intermediate learners' engagement.
Okay, thank you, Sister Nabila Mahdafikia. I want to add some information about research question, and then we found the research question first in here. Here, these are the research question, and we want to know: is our research question is true or same as the article? And this is we found in discussion. Okay, and then there are 4 research questions. Then we back to the PowerPoint. Okay, for research procedure, the first one, participants of the study were 360 English learners within the range of 13 to 19 years old who were studying in intermediate and upper intermediate level for four institutes. And second, all the participants answered two questionnaires before being taught through the flipped classroom method as a pretest. The third subject for intermediate learners and upper intermediate learners is different. The fourth one, after 6 week period, they answered so-called questionnaires again. Okay, we will see the procedure here. Okay, the study conducted among 4 classes in the levels of upper intermediate and intermediate. In each level, some of the participants were randomly assigned to control and experimental groups. All the participants answered the questionnaire before being taught through the flipped classroom method as a pretest. Then, control groups didn't have any movies about the grammatical subjects which were included in their course book. However, the experimental groups received the related movies before each sessions and they had the chance to watch the movies more times and had some background information about that subject. So after that, the subject also, uh, like we see here, subject for intermediate learners and upper intermediate learners is different. We can see here, subject for intermediate learners were present perfect, simple, simple and progressive, past perfect simple and progressive, passive voices, conditionals, and simple features. And for upper intermediate learners, they will feature perfect and progressive, part of speech, phrasal verbs, reported speech, causative sentences, and relative pronouns. So the fourth year, after 6 period, they answered so-called questionnaire again. We can see here. After 6 week period, they answered so-called questionnaires again, and their motivation and engagement in grammatical subjects were measured. Okay, so we back to the research design. The research design of this article is quasi-experimental design. A pretest was used and the participants were randomly assigned to 2 groups, control group and examine group. So this is the reason why this article is quasi-experimental design. The first one, the groups were non-equivalent. Okay, we can see here. Participant. Okay, this is what I mean. The group groups were non-equivalent. The level is not equal. As you can see, the main independent variable was flipped with two levels, intermediate and upper intermediate level. Okay, so number 2 is there is a group allocation, meaning there is observational, even though some employ random assignment. Okay, and then before they are determined into two groups, control groups and experiment groups. The tests were held to determine the control and experimental groups here, and then there is some observational first before they are divided into two groups, control group and experimental group. This is students who were able to answer 28 to 36 of the 60 questions posed was regarded as being at intermediate level, and those with 48 to 55 correct answers were put into the upper intermediate level of proficiency. That's what I mean from the reason of number 2. There's a group allocation. So the reason of number 3 is discontinuity regression. It means here in this article, the research only examine the effect only at that time, no longer see in the future. Will the flipped classroom have an effect on students' motivation in learning grammar? And then this is just examine the effect at that time, not until in the future. Okay, this is what I mean from the reason of number 3, discontinuity regression. Okay, those are the reason why this article is quasi-experimental design. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. And last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.